Mangona ni mwalelepo fukenjani breakfast whenever Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You're joined by Ashwin Berry and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glenn?
I'm doing very well. It was quite not exciting for me because I was moving. It was very eventful for me.
All right.
How was your weekend?
Also eventful, but I did manage to get some rest in between.
No, that's great. That's great. I need that because I was busy moving and the chaos of moving. We forget
I can only
about that.
imagine.
Yes, so many things, so many logistics and things to put in place.
Good thing you never have to move from here.
I never want to move again. Well, getting to what you can expect in today's broadcast. Togo ruling party wins a sweeping majority in a legislative poll. Final provisional results show. And UN Food Program warns of famine in Darfur if warring parties don't allow aid in. And Mbumba wants Cassinga lessons taught in schools in Namibia. We'll also be talking to Talent Gore, who will be filling us in on the latest news in Zimbabwe, along with Ari Hokat, who will update us on the latest in sports news. We'll be right back with your top stories.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Getting into our top stories, Togo's ruling party has won 108 out of 113 seats in the parliament, and this is according to the final provisional results of last month's legislative election announced on Friday. The sweeping majority secured by President Cassinga's UNIR party follows the approval of controversial constitutional reforms by the outgoing parliament that could extend his 19-year rule. The new charter, adopted in March, also introduced a parliament system of government, meaning the president will be elected by parliament instead of by universal suffrage. Opposition parties were hoping to gain seats in the April 29 vote to enable them to challenge the UNIR party after they boycotted the last legislative poll and left it effectively in control of parliament.
Getting into our next story, the United Nations World Food Program has warned that time is running out to prevent famine in Sudan's Darfur region. It says intensifying clashes in northern Darfur capital, El Fasher, is hindering efforts to deliver vital food assistance to the region. Civilians in the town and the wider Darfur region are already facing devastating levels of hunger, yet deliveries of food assistance have been intermittent due to bureaucratic hurdles and the ongoing fighting. Sudan has been at war for over a year now since simmering tensions between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces exploded in April 2023. El Fasher had been a relative safe haven for families hosting many IDP camps that predate the current conflict. Yet conditions were already critical, with reports of children dying of malnutrition. The latest escalation of violence around the town has halted 8 convoys coming from Chad's Teen border, crossing a recently opened humanitarian corridor that passes through North Darfur's capital. Our calls for humanitarian access to conflict hotspots in Sudan have never been more critical.
Now, President Mbumba of Namibia wants the despair and triumph that took place during the Cassinga massacre 46 years ago integrated into the country's education curriculum. A teacher by training, Mbumba said this will ensure that future generations understand the significance of the tragic event in the country's history. By teaching current and future generations about the sacrifices made by those who came before us, we will instill in them a sense of responsibility to uphold and cherish the values of freedom, justice, and and equality. He said in his Cassinga statement, this was on Saturday, Mbumba said the air raid by South African apartheid troops on the Cassinga camp in southern Angola 46 years ago will forever go down in Namibian history as a massacre and is a reminder of the brutality of apartheid. It is crucial to remember that the country's long and protracted struggle for independence inflicted on Namibians, he added. The attack, which took place on 4 May 1978, lasted about 4 hours.
Getting into our next story, Rwanda on Saturday denied U.S. accusation that its forces attacked a displaced persons camp in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and instead blamed militias it said were supported by the Congolese military for the assault. The U.S. strongly condemned Friday's attack, which killed at least 9 people. The U.S. State Department said in a statement, the attack was mounted from positions held by the Rwandan Defense Forces and the Rwanda-backed M23 rebel group. The U.S. statement said, the U.S. is gravely concerned about the recent RDF and M23 expansion in eastern Congo, it said. Rwandan government spokesperson Yolande Mokole denied the RDF was behind the attack and instead blamed it on militias supported by the Congolese military. The RDF, a professional army, would never attack an IDP. Look to the lawless FDLR and Wazalendo supported by the FARDC Congolese military for this kind of atrocity, she said in a post on X.
Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet decided on Sunday to shut down Al Jazeera's operations in Israel for as long as the war in Gaza continues, on the grounds that the Qatari television network threatens national security. Al Jazeera rejected accusations that it harmed Israel's security as dangerous and ridiculous, a lie that puts its journalists at risk, and said that it reserved the right to pursue every legal step. The network is funded by the Qatari government and has been critical of Israel's military operation in Gaza, from where it has reported around the clock throughout the war. The incitement channel Al Jazeera will be closed in Israel, Netanyahu posted on a social media following a unanimous cabinet vote. A government statement said Israel's communications minister signed orders to act immediately, but at least one lawmaker who supported the closure said Al Jazeera could still try to block it in court. The measure, the statement said, will include closing Al Jazeera's offices in Israel, confiscating broadcast equipment, cutting off the channel from cable and satellite companies, and blocking its website. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. We were hoping to have a chat with Talent Gore in Zimbabwe, but it doesn't seem like that will be possible. However, these are the stories that she would be bringing. The Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission has urged government and other stakeholders to create an environment that fosters free and vibrant press. We know that in Zimbabwe, free press has certainly been a huge issue. Names like Hopewell, Chinono come to mind, people who have been arrested for their practice of journalism. And the story you're seeing there is that 35 people were killed by wildlife in 2023, down from 68 deaths recorded in 2022. We'll take a quick break before we come back with the latest from Namport.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Getting into our next video, Namport CMP Tech Clean Energy Solutions Namibia and Port of Antwerp Bruges signed an MOU to develop the first ever hydrogen-powered vessel to operate in Namibian waters. Additionally, Namport and the Port of Antwerp Bruges signed an agreement focusing on the development of the North Port of Walvis Bay. Namport CEO Andrew Kanime and Port of Antwerp Bruges CEO Jacques van der Mieren Chesmo. This video is courtesy of our in-house journalist, Leandria Mower.
Let me start with the one that was entered into between Namport Port of Antwerp-Bruges, CMB Tech, and Clean Energy Solutions. The four parties are going to work together to develop a green hydrogen-powered boat for the Port of Walvis Bay. The role that the various parties are actually playing is that Clean Energy will be the source of the fuel, CMB Tech is the source of the technology for the development of the boat. Port of Antwerp and ourselves, in as much as we are actually going to be the user of this particular boat, together with the other two players also, we are going to put resources together to actually make it happen and produce this particular boat. So all parties will collaborate in finding the capital to produce and have that particular boat deployed in the Port of Walvis Bay, and it would then be the first hydrogen-powered boat in Africa, and more specifically the Port of Walvis Bay. That is the one part. The second agreement that was signed between ourselves and the Port of Antwerp-Bruges, I indicated that in 2022 we signed an MOU. An MOU is exploratory. It's not very specific. What we have signed today now is an agreement that confirms that we are going to co-create, co-develop, co-invest in the development of the North Port to create what we call industrial clusters to enable us obviously to transition from being just a port that is responsible for evacuating raw materials to a port in which we actually add value to this mineral ore. So it basically just set out the terms and conditions of how we are actually going to work together. That's in summary, unless
there's something else.
It's absolutely correct, and maybe on the boat I can stress that the very first one will be here in for Africa, will be here in Walvis Bay. The very first one of the world is already sailing in the port of Antwerp. So for us it will be the second one. So nice story to have the first and the second in every continent. So happy to join forces and to co-develop and co-invest in this boat that we will use, and it will be a very visible investment of our partnership.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Getting into economic news, Apple sales have fallen in almost every market across the globe, according to the latest results from the tech giant. The company said that demand for its smartphones dropped more than 10% in the first 3 months of this year, while overall sales fell in every geographic region except for Europe. Apple said that overall revenues across the company declined by 4% to $90.8 billion, which was the biggest drop for more than a year. Nevertheless, the results were not as bad as expected, and Apple's share price rose rose in after hours trading in New York. The company said the figures were distorted by COVID-related supply disruptions, which led to unusually strong sales during the same period last year. It said it expected sales to return to growth in the months ahead, noting upcoming product launches and investment in artificial intelligence.
Getting into our next story, in recent weeks, cocoa has become scarce on the international market, pushing the price per ton to over $10,000 for the three cocoa producing countries of Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Cameroon, where cocoa beans are in short supply. The impact has been enormous. The cause of the scarcity is a lack of quality and climate change. Another reason, says Douala-based chocolate maker Hippolyte Nozowa Chofo, is that for some months now, demand on the international market has been greater than supply. For a number of years, as the price of cocoa remained very low, many cocoa farmers abandoned their plantations or did not maintain them sufficiently, resulting in aging plantations and falling yields, he says. The second factor is climate change. There are times when there's very heavy rain when we are expecting sunshine. There's also the mold that develops when the climate is not respected. As a result, the price per kilo in Cameroon has risen sevenfold in just 1 month, from 900 to 7,000 francs. This is very bad news for local processors like Chofo, who is now running out of raw material. As for example, our chocolates contain almost 40 to 80% of cocoa, or even 90% for some chocolates. So when it becomes 7 times more expensive, that has an impact, he says. It increases the price of the bar at least 5 times. If we pass on this increase, which is 500 to 600%, customers won't be able to afford it. And if they can't, we won't sell and we'll close.
All right, those have been our economic news stories. Let's head over to the indicators just before Ari joins us for the sport.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
All right, great sporting weekend. Wonderful win from McLaren. Good to see Madrid going on as it did after Nadal's exit last week. And of course, Arsenal did what I needed it to do, and Manchester City did exactly the opposite of what I wanted them to do. But Ari Hohad is here to take us through the sport. How are you, Ari?
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin and everyone. Yes, it was a busy sporting Monday. It was a busy sporting weekend. And nice to reflect back. As you say, it's getting close in the English Premier League. Still, at the moment, Arsenal on top. That's the English Premier League. Arsenal, 83 points after 36 games. Manchester City played 1 game less, 35, and they've got 82 points. All to play for 3 games left for City, 2 games left for Arsenal. And it's big games coming up the weekend. And What happened over the weekend is that the Arsenal beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Those are the Manchester City players celebrating beating Wolverhampton by 5-1. So they continue to win. It is in Manchester City's hand. If they continue to win all their games, they will be champions again. They've got a tough game coming up away to Tottenham Hotspur. That will be a Tuesday game on the 14th of May. So that's one to look out for. And top four at the moment, Liverpool still in third, and Aston Villa remain on fourth after losing the weekend. Liverpool won against Tottenham Hotspur 4-2 at home. And there's one game tonight again. It's Manchester United. They will play away to Crystal Palace. They're hanging on to eighth at the moment. Seems like West Ham is too far away in ninth position to challenge them in the top eight at the moment. So it seems like Manchester United will squeeze into the top eight for Champions or for European football next year, with Chelsea and Newcastle as well, and Tottenham, the 5 to 8, and Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and Aston Villa probably making the top four, but still some soccer to be played. On to that McLaren that you talked about, brilliant performance by Lando Norris. That is the Grand Prix in Miami, Formula One Grand Prix. I'm so used to saying on Mondays that Max Verstappen won again. It's a bit of a different setting this time. 24-year-old Lando Norris is at 110 starts in Formula One. He had 15 podiums, no win yet. Now he's a winner. He won in Miami for his first Formula One title. Those are the racing drivers in second and third. That is Max Verstappen finishing second. Charles Leclerc, unfamiliar light blue in Ferrari colors there, finishing in third position. At the moment, Max Verstappen still leading the points table, 136 points. Sergio Perez, 103. Leclerc on 98 in Ferrari. And then Lando Norris up in fourth position on 83 points. So exciting Grand Prix. It was Lando Norris that pulled away from the leader, Max Verstappen, after taking advantage of a safety car to pit for tyres. And then he maintained the lead and he pulled away 7 seconds. He won that race. So great to see. Briefly, also tennis. It was the Madrid Open. It's almost like a major. All the top players in the world played. There are lots of injuries on the men's side, though. That's the women's winner. That is Iga Swiatek, one of the best tennis games I've seen. I don't watch many of them live. It's too long. But I watched this one. It was amazing against Aryna Sabalenka, that 1 and 2 in the world playing. It was Iga Swiatek winning 7-5, 4-6, and 7-6 in the tiebreak in the third set, 9-7 in the tiebreak. So a great win for Iga Swiatek, confirming a number 1. And that's Andrei Rublev, number 7 seed. He's from Russia. He beat Felix Auger-Aliassime of Canada, but of a surprise player in the final is unseeded. And Rublev winning 4-6, 7-5, 7-5, the final. And it was lots of injuries. It was Carlos Alcaraz out-injured, Yannick Sinner out-injured. Also Medvedev, Daniel Medvedev also out-injured in the tournament. So seemed like a rugby game there on the tennis courts. And then briefly talking about rugby, Leinster and Toulouse will play in the final of the Rugby Championship. Those are the challenge. That's the ball for Rugby Challenge Cup. The Sharks made South Africa proud. They beat Clermont Auvergne by 32-31, 1 point. South Africans used to winning by 1 point. They know how to win by 1 point. They will play in the final against Gloucester that beat Benetton by 40 points to 23. Great performance by the Sharks. So that is in the challenge. In the championship, it's Leinster that will play against Toulouse after both of them won their semi-finals. So lots of sport that happened over the weekend. I hope it's a great week for everyone and a great sport week, and we'll enjoy the week. We talk again sport tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Always good getting the sport from Ari. Here are the highlights from the rest of the show. Togo ruling party wins sweeping majority in legislative poll, final provisional results show. UN food program warns of famine in Darfur if warring parties don't allow aid in. And Apple sales fall in nearly all countries.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining Africa Good Morning on this beautiful Monday morning. From me, Glenora Shipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Swera Jakanaka.